This is not a joke. This is not a stunt.
It's not a cutesy campaign.
It's something I am doing because I'm passionate about this role and I want to win this election to change New York City for the better.
Welcome to Guys We...
Hello, people of Earth. How are you doing? Welcome to another exciting episode of Guys We Hug Down There.
It's the Anti-Slut Shaming Podcast. I'm Corinne Fisher.
I'm Krystyna Hutchinson.
Welcome to the show, and what a show it is for you.
It's a good one. It's going to be an epic one. Make sure you're following us on social media, and if you're not already, I'm at Krystyna Hutch.
I'm at Philanthropy Gal.
And I'm at FRETTY.
And together we are Guys We Fuh, without the U in fuh.
You know what we're saying.
Yeah, see us on Instagram. That's where you're going to get all the up-to-date intel, because you're going to want to be in the know for this one. If you want to email us, please do it. Send us your dilemma. Send us your wedding cringe story. Send us, you've listened to the show. You know what kind of stuff we want to hear. To SorryAboutLastNightShow at gmail.com. We're going to read a couple emails before we get into it. So the first subject line, he's perfect, but he doesn't want sex. That's not perfect. Hi, guys. Luminary subscriber here. I've been listening to you since 2015. I'm now 28 female. You ladies have got me through some crazy dumb bitch times. I appreciate the podcast and you girls so much. You helped me realize that it's healing to be able to laugh even at the depressing things in life. So thank you. Never thought I'd have something to email you about, but I guess here we are.
That's what everyone thinks. That's the attitude of society. Everyone thinks it'll never be me.
Nope. I'm just listening to a podcast. I'm not going to write in. And then one day, this shit happens. I've been single / not very intentionally dating for about 7 years. I don't like people very often. So when I find a guy that has a really nice personality and I find attractive and I could stand to be around, I jump at the chance because holy shit, it's hard to find a guy that doesn't annoy me. I met this guy, 25, on Hinge, and we went out on our first date a few weeks ago. It was honestly the best date I've been on. He asked me questions, seemed very kind. We had chemistry and so many things in common. I know it's a bare minimum, but it's not very common.
True.
Welcome to being a straight lady. We've been talking every day since that date, but he has been traveling out of the country basically the whole time, so we haven't had another date yet. He will be starting his residency soon, so he had a month of travel planned. A few days ago, he sent this text. I'll attach the text to this email because, wow, there's a lot and I have no idea what to do with it. I've honestly never heard of anything like this, and I don't understand where he's coming from. Well, should we read the text?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Okay, you want to read the girls? She's the blue.
Okay.
I guess starting there.
That seriously sounds like something out of a movie. I love that so much.
Life kind of has felt like that since I met you, and it's making me realize a lot as well, especially since we've gotten a little closer. And one of those realizations is understanding the types of relations that make me feel this alive.
I've been feeling the same way. I really like talking to you.
I really like talking to you too, person whose name it is, but I feel it's important I say this now while there's still room for conversation.
Oh boy.
No. I'm not seeking a traditional romantic relationship. I've never felt comfortable being someone's boyfriend or having the expectation of someone being, of someday being someone's husband.
I'm gonna stop you here and say run. Okay, but if what you are looking for is a relationship, he's telling you who he is right now, and there's a lot more that we haven't gotten to yet.
So much more.
But please don't convince yourself that you're so wonderful you're going to change him. I'm sure you are wonderful. It's not going to change who he is at his core.
And it's not your job to change anybody. It's your job to love and be loved. I don't know how strongly you feel about me, but talking to you honestly makes my day. It's a type of vulnerability that makes me feel comfortable for once. You're charming, you're funny, and I find myself thinking about you or things that you'd like, thought my trip daily. Huh? Okay, he doesn't read.
He's 25.
Yeah, it's okay. We'll give him that. I want you to know that about me because although I like you and want to spend more time around you, I don't want to hurt you in a process by not being enough.
Oh, God, this guy's a disaster.
This might be easy to take in, or it might be that I'm asking too much and being completely unreasonable, but I want you to know that everything I just said was my most honest self, and that I respect your feelings and decisions moving forward, whatever they may be.
Yeah, this guy, you had a great date because this guy's a #1 grade A bullshit artist.
Yeah.
These also, okay, this is something that is like wrong with me, but but this guy also, his texts are way longer than yours.
Yeah.
That should not be.
Yeah, his texts are real long.
Yeah. I mean, means he's a handful.
I'm trying to, okay, so wait, let's read more what he says, because she says, I'll be honest,
Okay, I'll be honest, that's not really easy to take in. I've been really, really enjoying getting to know you, and I've been thinking about you a lot. I'm curious if you're not looking for a traditional romantic relationship. What are you looking for? Like, this kind of hurts. I didn't expect to feel this way about you so fast.
I completely understand how you feel, and I appreciate you being so open with me. I never want to cause you pain, especially when you've been so kind and genuine with me. But what I'm looking for is something a bit more fluid.
Oh.
I never want to connection without the traditional labels or expectations.
He just wants to have sex with anyone and who he deems attractive enough and interesting enough whenever he wants to, and have no commitment, but then also take advantage of the free therapy you'll undoubtedly be offering him.
Ding, ding, ding. I really enjoy being close to someone, spending time together, and getting to know them on a deep level, but I don't want to
using someone as an emotional crutch.
I don't want to tie it to the typical boyfriend-girlfriend role.
Oh, run for the hills so fast. Put on your track shoes, baby, because you need a sprint.
I know that might sound vague, but I want to build something that feels natural and true without feeling constrained. He wants to fuck your friends.
I hate this person.
I care about you, lady's name. I really do. And I want to continue exploring what we have.
Anytime we're using exploring, we're running.
Through talking and quality time together. But I also understand if what I'm offering isn't what you're in for.
He's offering nothing.
Please know that I'm still here and enjoy our connection, however that looks.
Mm-hmm. I bet he's not there, however it looks. I bet he's there if you continue to explore the connection on his terms.
On his penis.
Yeah, I really do appreciate you being so honest about this. I want to keep exploring a connection with you as well. See, you already are bending to his rules. You started using his language and you're mirroring it back to him. Did you see that? Yeah. Did you see that? Because you're intoxicated with him, so you're mirroring it back. I think you're also a good listener, but you don't need to be with him. You need to be firm and present your own ideas. I want to keep exploring a connection with you as well, because it's been so refreshing getting to know you. It feels refreshing because he's not like anyone else, because something's wrong with him.
That though.
I guess I just need to understand a little more what fluid means to you and what exploring a connection with you looks like. Girl, you know what fluid means. It means he's going to be cheating on you right and left.
Uh-huh.
But he made it's not going to be called cheating because he's not in a relationship. And he made that clear to you when you started dating. So why are you crying right now? Yeah. That's a conversation you're going to have in the near future.
Yeah. Especially after we're done with this email. Getting to know you has felt like a breath of fresh air too. And I agree. I want to be as transparent as possible too. A relationship with me would look more like being friends who can have deeper conversations, but enjoy dancing together, light touch, watching a movie, and just generally enjoying each other's company simply by being around each other. I want to be able to do this, but without the need to expect more of what comes with most relationships, like family introductions, sexual relations. I think he
might be gay.
Or he doesn't have a penis. Or expectations of a lifetime commitment. I'm content with the present and don't want to worry about living in the future. Oh, wow. So self-actualized. I take things day by day and just try to find the joy in everything and everyone I interact with.
This is a lot of branding for a 25-year-old.
But I also understand that not everybody wants to live like that, and I do my best to respect their choices. Sorry for the delay. I just woke up an hour ago.
It's 2 p.m.
But even after...
I just made it up. I don't know.
It probably is. But even after telling you all this, my feelings haven't changed. I'd like to keep talking to you and have the chance to spend time with you when I get back. You can always tell me if this isn't going well and we need to pause and adjust, but I want you to know that I like you enough to try, even if I get hurt, doing so.
So the problem with this guy is he is integrating therapy language into the conversation, which is tricking you into thinking that he is emotionally intelligent when really he's just a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
But it seems like because he's talking a lot, he's over talking, he's over analyzing, he's really like pretending that he got this
Fake
is
caring.
This is a bunch of absolute nonsense. I do care about you
There
a
you
lot. I like taking things day by day, but I'd be lying if I said I don't think about the potential of a future as well. Listen to your wants.
You're giving him too much power.
I just feel it may be difficult for me to not think of this in that way. Do you mind if I sleep on it and kind of process things for now? I know you're traveling today too, so I want you to be able to focus on that and enjoy yourself. Oh, you're already completely giving away everything for this guy. Maybe this is more of a face-to-face talk for when you get back. You've only been face-to-face once, so it's kind of crazy. Also, either way, you still owe me a 3-course meal.
And commitment. Of course, take your time. And absolutely, I'd be happier to talk in person, but I needed mention this sooner than later out of respect for your feelings. And hell yeah, I owe you 3-course meal. If you put up with me till I get back, I'll make it 4-course too.
It's the 4th course is his penis, but based on that emoji.
Now, he's attractive, but you are also a fucking smoke show.
Don't
girl,
listen.
Don't let those abs.
Don't let those
baby.
abs distract you.
Yes, it's nice to put your hands on, and also
yeah, because it's like the abs are really good. The face is medium.
Yeah. I mean, he sucks. He sucks. But you're a babe.
Wait, what does it say? It says, and he's also a hack. It's him and it's Hal with abs, and then it says, "Thank you for coming to my TED Talk." Come on.
Yeah.
Well, and it's also like he's a med student, so like this feels.
Oh right. Ew, I don't want him being my doctor.
Right. This like feels high stakes.
Okay. So I've honestly never. Okay. So now back to your email. I've honestly never heard of anything like this, and I don't understand where he's coming from.
You have. You have. This is just a different iteration of fuckboy.
The first one that's rolled across your desk in this this type of way. It's hard to understand this over text, so I'd rather talk to him face to face, but I don't know if I should continue talking to him until he gets back. Nope. I am someone who romanticizes relationships.
That's why you're the perfect victim / target / prey for his fuck boy antics.
Yeah, girl, us love bugs are real vulnerable and really looks forward to the future with someone. I know this isn't the healthiest thing to do only a few weeks in, but it's hard not to. He's gaslit you and it feels good to like go with his whims, and that's just a fake sense of belonging and connection. It upsets me that he said he doesn't want a traditional relationship, but what really threw me was him not wanting to expect sexual relations because, I mean, I don't know why he said that. There could be so many reasons why he said that, and none of them are good.
Yeah, and then also at the end of that last text exchange, he said, "I'll make it a 4th course too," with the like emoji, and it's like,
he's gonna
that's
eat you
obviously
out?
sexual.
I mean, I would assume. But then he's not, whatever. He sucks. This guy sucks. Like, at the very least, I thought we'd date for a while no matter what the outcome. But yeah, because a normal person would do that. He's not normal. But dating without sex is just a friendship. And I haven't had sex in 2 years, y'all. I was so excited I finally liked someone again. That's okay. We're gonna move on to the next. People have told me that my standards might be too high. Never listen to that, and that I'm too picky.
No, I would say you're not picky enough, and your standards aren't high enough. If we're still have this guy on the table,
your standards are weird. Your standards are not in the right priority box, is what I would say.
Luigi Langione over here.
Now I would date that guy over this guy.
I'm just going off the pictures. You guys can't see them,
yeah,
but
he's got abs.
It looks like 12 abs. Timu Luigi.
Yeah, totally. And then I'm too picky. So it was really nice to finally start dating a guy that had damn near everything I was looking for. And then this happened.
Mental illness?
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of those around, girl. I guess I'm just wondering what you guys think. Is he asexual, scared of commitment, some other issues? He wants to string you along and fuck you and not have any commitment.
Yeah,
That's
you're doing what many, especially young women, do, which is you're giving a really empathetic approach, like, oh, maybe he's just scared or something. No, he's an asshole.
Yeah.
It's not a medical condition.
Nope.
Okay?
No, that's on him.
This is an asshole who wants to do whatever he wants to do. That's not in the DSM.
Have you ever heard of someone wanting this type of relationship?
I have.
Yeah,
I've
been there. Yeah, been on the receiving end. I can't decide if I should keep talking to him and maybe see where things go. No! or just stop wasting my time and cut it off now to save our feelings. Oh, fuck his feelings. Save your feelings.
You're being way too nice. You need to lay down the absolute law and say, hey, I really enjoyed our first date. I thought you were different, but it seems like you're actually just like everybody else. And I'm not
interested.
I'm not abandoning all my wants and needs for your, albeit washboard abs.
Yeah, he's got like 20
The abs are great.
The abs are great. And it doesn't matter what his body looks like, but I will say it's not gross. However,
my vulnerable side. I hate this guy. How did you even swipe on him?
Also, reading these text messages, I'm like, I can tell he's like getting off on how much you care.
Yes.
And he's like, in his head, when he's reading your text, he's going, got her.
You're placating him.
Got her.
You're being so accommodating to his needs. It's like he's not a doctor. He's in med school.
You're a hot woman in your 20s. Go out there and keep being picky. Be pickier than this. And, aim higher for emotional intelligence. That's what we're going to do.
And also, is he a rich brat? Because he's in med school, but before that, he's taking a month off, just travel the world. Sounds like a rich brat to me. And okay, so there's listen, some people are born rich, and you shouldn't hold that against people, but how they live their life after that, you can hold against people. 100%. And it just, in my experience, even though I want, it to be true that rich people who were, born rich aren't different than people who were born middle class or poor. Like, they just really are.
Nah.
There is a stench to like a rich kids that very rarely comes off.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of experience with it, and it does not. It's not good. It does not work for me.
Move on. That's our advice. Next. Thank you. Next.
Yeah.
Not him. He ain't it.
This guy is.
If you please, like, listen, rewind to the part where we read the text exchange. Does that sound like someone that you want to start a life with? Ugh.
Yeah, you're really beautiful,
you're hot and you
seem
20s.
very kind, and there's just absolutely this guy is going to stomp on your heart and then make it seem creative.
Yeah, well, and make it seem like it's your fault that it didn't work out, or that you're being too much when you don't want him fucking your sister.
But the thing is, he's 100% the type of person to keep love bombing you. And then when it feels so real and it feels like you're in this relationship, he'll immediately pull back and be like, I told you I didn't want a relationship. I told you that from the beginning. That's exactly what he's going to do. And it's going to hurt really badly. Don't put yourself in that position, because in his defense, he is telling you who he is. Listen. All right, and I heard Eric laughing in the background, which when the male producer is laughing, that we're really on to something that we shouldn't have known.
It's so fun. I just wrote a joke about this like 2 days ago.
Please tell us.
Oh, I have a lot of toxically masculine thoughts, so I went to therapy, but it kind of just gave me the tools to weaponize those toxically masculine thoughts, gave me the terms.
I just got
chills.
chills.
Like the other day, I said to my girlfriend,
"That's not even funny, it's so real."
I feel triggered when you don't blow me because it reminds me.
Oh, I heard you do this,
yes, it reminds me of past trauma from when I had blue balls.
I was laughing.
Yeah.
She said, listen, you can't just use therapy talk to try to guilt me into blowing you. And I told her, stop gaslighting me. And
yes, you are being the character of this piece of crap guy that we just read text from. So, girl, move on.
Thank you for sharing your art with us, Eric.
Yes,
it's literally that. He literally did that.
No, I know that, and that's so funny because I heard you do that joke the other night. And I'm like, I was laughing in the background. I thought it was really accurate.
Yeah.
All right, so this next subject line says, my lying, cheating, gaslighting, soon-to-be ex-boyfriend.
Yay, at least you know.
Hi, ladies. I'm a big fan of your show. I've been listening since 2014. Luminary subscriber. Thank you. And it's been really gratifying to be on this ride with both of you.
Buckle up, baby.
Yeah, I was like, wait till later in the episode. Yeah. I have the distinct misfortune of writing in for the advice for the first time. That's the theme of today's emails. At the very least, I'm hoping to get some catharsis from writing all of my feelings down. I hope that listeners that are younger and smarter than I was when I started listening to you can take what I'm saying and not make the same mistakes. You know what? We've been really working on that for about 11 years. And you heard that last email. I'm a 31-year-old woman and I'm breaking up with my boyfriend of nearly 5 years.
Yay, because he sucks.
That takes strength. Good for you.
It does.
Bear with me as I explain the events that led up to this. I met my boyfriend, now 33, in the beginning of 2020, right before our state lockdown for COVID. As things tend to go, neither of us was looking for a relationship, but we had instant and undeniable chemistry. I remember telling my friends early on that even though I don't believe in soulmates. He really felt like mine. Can you say love bomber?
Yeah.
I also love that you're like, for years, you're like, I don't believe in soulmates, but then you're like, but this guy feels like it.
Yeah, because he like really likes me like a lot.
When my job went remote during COVID, we decided that he would stay with me. There wasn't ever a real conversation about it, but I was home all day in my apartment alone, and it felt so fun to have a new boyfriend stay with me.
Yeah,
of course.
it does.
I get that.
It's like every day's a sleepover.
Yeah. The early days were exciting. None of us thought COVID would last long, and we all got out of our routines. I was staying up late with him. We would drink, smoke, have sex, and watch shitty TV all night.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah, that sounds great. We were sexually compatible. I felt seen by him, had similar values and interests. It was such a fun time for me.
What could go wrong?
Fast forward a few months, and we both decide to move to the same city. It had been something I wanted to do for a while because the town I was living in was feeling too small, and with my job being remote, it felt like the perfect time. We each had our own apartments, and once again, it was an exciting change. Here is where things started to go downhill. I will say I'm really proud of you guys for moving to the same city, but then having your own apartments, unless it's because he like had a plan to cheat on you. But we'll see. ... You know?
But maybe it's because you both wanted separate spaces.
Yeah, maybe it's because you understand boundaries.
We'll see.
We'll see. As it turned out, moving to this particular city during the pandemic and the murder of George Floyd would take a massive hit on my and my boyfriend's mental health. Looking back at that time, we have both acknowledged that we were incredibly depressed, and it manifested in different ways. At the time, he was unmedicated for his bipolar disorder. Okay. Oh, girl, I could do a whole episode on that. Something that I knew of, but in the little time I had known him, didn't impact our relationship. Yeah, or possibly by the description of it, you were dating him during Mania, which is super fun.
Right, and they're like just so into
We
you,
love
like,
dating our boys during Mania. That's my favorite time to date them.
High highs? Hello.
Yeah, but the other side of bipolar disorder is quite serious.
Spend your savings account at Target.
Yeah, that would prove not to be true as time went on. It was around this time that the universe tried to help me out, and I got my first major red flag. A woman DM.
You're right.
I know. When you've just been doing this show for so long, you
see it.
You just kind of see it. Yes, a sense.
There's patterns.
There are patterns. The same way as a meteorologist.
We should have a pattern app for guys we fucked.
Yeah.
Like if he says this is what's coming.
Damn. A woman DM'd me to tell me he had been cheating on me. She even reached out to my sister's DMs when I didn't respond.
Damn, she wanted you to know.
Of course, he had an excuse that I believed.
Damn.
Then, not too long after I received my second red flag from the. And also, I like how you're like
from the
a
universe?
red flag from the universe. It's a lady literally
a woman was fucking
DM'd
him.
you. It wasn't a sign. It was actually a direct piece of information that was given to you.
She found out the guy she was fucking was your boyfriend, and she was pissed and wanted you to know.
Yeah, that's not a sign. A sign is like a butterfly flies past you as a specific song plays on the radio from the bodega.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's just really get clear on that. Okay, of course he had an excuse that I believed. Then not too long after I received my second red flag from the universe that I ignored. It's just like, I found a used condom. His ex-wife reached out to me to tell me to leave him.
Girl.
I won't go into detail here.
Oh, come on.
But I was aware of his previous and toxic relationship prior to dating him.
Oh, and did he spin it as she was the bad guy?
Right. And again, we talk about this concept on the show all the time that like, isn't it wild how we all fall in love with this magical guy who just has this crazy ex?
And every girl he's ever dated is just so psycho and like didn't get it and didn't get him, and like that's why the relationship had to end.
Yeah, even my most intelligent, self-aware feminist friends I find still falling for this crazy ex. Like the chances that the ex is actually crazy, very, very low.
Very slim.
Very, very low. Like, think about it. How many women in your life, like, of my friends do I know that I would actually describe as, like, crazy? And I'm a fucking comedian. So the number should be higher.
No, I don't have people in my life that I would describe that.
I don't think dating many. There's like one friend who I might like describe dating her as crazy, but it's not
very
the
rare.
norm.
Yeah.
Why is it that
all the few crazy women just happen to date your boyfriend?
They just happen to date the guy that you fall madly in love with. Maybe they're crazy because he love bombed them the same way he's doing to you right now, and you're about to be the crazy ex-girlfriend.
And that ain't a sign from the universe. That's pattern recognition.
Yeah, I know I know we have this like idea in our heads that every ex-girlfriend is just sitting on Instagram, just like biting her nails, being like, how do I ruin this relationship? And like, I promise you, they're not. Women are very busy creatures. Okay,
we got a lot to do.
We have aspirations. I think very few of us, even if we're stalking a little bit, are sitting online being like, how can I tear apart this relationship?
Yeah,
I've never actively tried to tear apart. I've certainly like talked shit about people, but I've never like done anything to on purpose tear apart someone's relationship. I really haven't.
Yeah.
Like
good for you. You're a leader.
I've spoken about, you know, how bad people I dated were, but it was like, I really actually went out of my way to make sure that the onus was on them. And I'm like, I don't know who this person is. Oh God, this just frustrates me because I'm like, how do we cure this?
Yeah.
This thought that is so shared among women.
We make it known how time and time again we fall for the shit. We fall for it. And if we just get enough stories in our head, we're going to see the signs earlier and we're not going to have to write in.
Yeah. And it's like, and if the person is perhaps acting crazy, like maybe there's a reason why the person is acting crazy.
Yeah, because
they were pushed to it.
Yep.
While he expressed a measure of responsibility for what had happened, I, of course, believed his side of the story over hers. I've learned my lesson, and I hope if there is a next time, I can be level-headed enough to trust a woman who is reaching out to me with a warning.
There won't be a next time with this guy.
Yeah, like women, you gotta heed the warnings of other women. Things became progressively worse as 2021 rolled around. He didn't have a consistent paycheck, and he was living in what can only be described as a depression cave. All right, well, he has bipolar disorder. Yeah. Right. I mean, both of these things are the complete opposite of me. And I mean, also, I've just done a lot of research on bipolar disorder because of certain people in my life. But, you know, it's sometimes, especially with depending on if the bipolar disorder is medicated or not, you know, losing your job and stuff. And like when you say not having a consistent paycheck, that's very common for people with bipolar disorder that is mismanaged or unmanaged, you know? Both of these things are the complete opposite of me. I've always had consistent and reliable employment, and I am a very tidy person. He always had money for alcohol and vapes, and alcohol is one of the number one worst things you can do to your body when you have bipolar disorder. If you have bipolar disorder, you basically really can't be drinking or using drugs at all, hard stop. But when it came to real life expenses, his roommate and I took on the burden. In early 2021, our relationship took its first major hit. I have never wanted kids, and I'm very open about that with people I date. For some reason, this became a huge point of contention in our relationship, so much so that we broke up. Even though it was an extremely unhealthy breakup, I was really devastated. It had all ended so abruptly. While neither of us knew it at the time, he was extremely manic and erratic during this time. We got back together after a couple of weeks, deciding that I was worth more than having kids. This was the first of many ups and downs that I would experience in the following years. Damn. And again, this is just like very par for the course with someone who is mismanaging or not managing at all or bipolar disorder. So I keep pointing that out because I'm like, this is a different level. This is not just like a guy being a fuckboy.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, I can't tell because I don't know him, what parts are, you know, him and what parts are the bipolar disorder, but that's what's going on here. I mean, this is all just like template of bipolar disorder. My depression and anxiety that year led to near agoraphobia and symptoms that I would later understand to be adult onset OCD that wouldn't be diagnosed for another 2 years. Where I used to be confident, creative, and active person, I had turned into an anxiety-stricken homebody who struggled to connect with people. My partner was impacted differently. He cycled through mania and depression. While his reactions varied, what was constant was his drinking and his anger towards me.
Oof.
Again, so angry outbursts. Very bipolar. And again, please, you know, if you're someone listening who has bipolar disorder and, you know, took control of your health, amazing. Great. I'm not saying don't date someone with bipolar disorder. But what I am saying is don't date someone who is not managing their bipolar disorder 100%. What had started out for me as fun nights of heavy drinking with someone I loved turned into anger-fueled nights by him. While the drinking wasn't every day, it would be hours-long binge sessions where he would suck everyone into his gravitational pull. He is, of course, charismatic and fun, so people always get sucked in. I did too for the longest time. Despite constant nagging from my gut, we moved in together. It was out of necessity. His roommate was moving out and he couldn't afford to live anywhere. So it was out of necessity for him, not you.
Yeah, not you.
The next 2 years would be me paying for all of our living expenses by myself. It devastates me to think about how much money I lost during that time because a man was too depressed to get a job. Again, it's a little more serious than that, but yes, I mean, I feel like neither party, if someone tells you that they have a serious mental illness, I really recommend immediately getting a book and reading up about it. It's primarily the job of the person with the mental disorder or the depression or whatever it is to read up on it, because I find so many times like, you know, the women in a heterosexual relationship will become also, you know, a part-time doctor and psychologist and psychiatrist. But I think perhaps it seems like you were like, you know, there's kind of three people in a relationship with someone with bipolar disorder. It's you, your partner, and the bipolar disorder. I had started telling him that I thought it was time to try medication and therapy again. He had done both in the past, but was refusing despite me telling him how much his actions were impacting me. Wow. Now that we were living together, his drinking and anger towards me became so much more apparent. I struggled to pull out strong details during that time because of my own poor mental health and the start of the gaslighting. We would have arguments that would leave my brain spinning. I would confront him about something and leave the conversation apologizing, feeling crazy and so confused. It became blatantly obvious that he was lying to me about his drinking. So fucking obvious. I remember on multiple occasions making active decisions not only to believe him, but ignore my own gut. These were active and conscious decisions that I was making. I was crying and apologizing all of the time, constantly walking on eggshells, feeling paranoid, and like he was cheating and lying all the time. I couldn't live with him, and I couldn't live without him. We were severely codependent. Also, I mean, again, just another thing, like haven't really talked about being in a relationship with someone with bipolar disorder on the podcast a bunch, but another thing is like they have during mania, a lot of times people with bipolar disorder have a really hard time being monogamous. So if you're in a monogamous relationship, the chance, like I used to know the stats off the top of my head, but the chance of not getting cheated on when you're dating someone bipolar is like really low.
If they're mismanaging it or even when they're not.
No, when they're mismanaging it. Yeah. I mean, it depends. It depends. I mean, there is a bipolar 1, bipolar 2. Are they, how severe is it? Are they on medication that is working for them? Are they not using drugs and alcohol? There's so many variables. Because on the flip side, I will say, I don't know any men who are properly managing their bipolar disorder, but I do know women who are. And I would never have even known that they had it had they not told me. And that's the difference between managing and mismanaging. We had a moment where I really confronted him about things and the problem died down just enough for me to feel comfortable continuing to live with him. Of course, the problem came back with a vengeance. I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating, and I was so unhappy. About 2 months before I left, I told him I was unhappy, things needed to change, and he needed to get help. I told him I was actively looking for another place to live and that I wanted to break up. He didn't take me seriously and didn't make any changes. Jesus. The final straw was when he came back home blackout drunk in the middle of the night and berated me for what felt like hours.
God.
Yeah. And please,
hell no.
This is not, I'm not making an excuse that he has having bipolar disorder or any mental health issue is not an excuse for mistreating someone. You still know what the hell is going on. I sat there sobbing, begging him to stop, but he was relentless. The only thing that finally snapped me out of it was when he told me that my negative attitude was impacting my relationship with my friends.
Girl.
It's really telling of the bad place I was in at the time, but hearing that stopped me dead in my tracks. Say what you want about me, but I have incredible friends, and I know that what he said wasn't true.
Good.
That was when I officially decided to leave.
Good.
My friends helped me with my exit strategy and got me moved out in less than a month. I received so much love and support from them.
Good. You deserve that.
Despite months of me telling him I was unhappy and leaving, he was shocked to find out I was actually following through on it. That's also telling of our relationship dynamic. I put up with everything he threw at me, so he had every reason to believe I was going to stay.
Sure. Yeah.
I moved very far away to be close to people I love. I was reeling from the impact the relationship had on me. I was in therapy, Al-Anon, and receiving a lot of support from my loved ones. God, I don't know it off the top of my head, but there's a really great book. I think it's something called something like Loving Someone with Bipolar Disorder or something. I really recommend. I know you're not with this person anymore, but I think it will help you unpack some of the things that you went through. And there's probably so much more related to the bipolar disorder than you thought. And it won't, for me at least, it'll make you feel like a lot less crazy, and maybe in spots where you gave him more empathy than you feel like you should have. It's not that. I don't know that
is it called Loving Someone with Bipolar Disorder, Understanding and Helping Your Partner?
That's the one I.
Julia.
I know what the cover looks like. I don't think it's that. It looks like a better book. That one looks like a pamphlet. Okay. It's. Here, it's called Sarah. Here, this is the one. It's called Living, and a person with bipolar disorder recommended this to me. But not the person I was reading the book for. So
if they were, you
can trust it. This is a great. I mean, it's one of those books where you're like, "Am I going crazy?" And then you're flipping through it and you're going, "Oh,
yeah,
this is all coming together." I will say, my one criticism of this book is I still. In comparison to the information I got from my therapist, I think it's being still a little too catering to the person with bipolar disorder, basically saying that if you want to make a relationship with someone with bipolar disorder work, that you really have to like bend over backwards for him or her. And I think that is not true. And so this book is like a touch overly empathetic to the person with bipolar disorder, but still really, really good read. It's called Living with Someone Who's Living with Bipolar Disorder, a practical guide for family, friends, and coworkers by Chelsea Lowe and Bruce M. Cohen, MD, PhD.
Oh, Bruce M. Cohen. He co-wrote that book with Oprah that I love.
Yeah, that's a great book. And I just recommend, and again, I know you're, out of the woods, so to say, but I think it will probably heal some things that happened to you, some traumas that you may have collected during this relationship, because I feel you. My boyfriend was trying to win me back. The love bombing came back. A lot of big promises and grand gestures. It was working. We decided to go no contact for a few months and figure our shit out. It was during this time in working with an amazing therapist that I started getting panic attacks for the first time. I was finally diagnosed with OCD. The OCD triggers were nonstop, lasting for days. It was the first time in my entire life that I truly thought I was going crazy. I got on medication and things started looking up. My life felt full again. It was then that I decided I would give my partner another chance. And that's where you went wrong, because you went and fixed you. He did not go and fix him, I'm guessing. He had bottomed out during our no contact period. I would love to be surprised one time during the show.
I know, wouldn't that be nice?
He had been sober and working on getting his life together for the last 3 months. He was now on medication that was working for him and was in therapy.
Okay,
all right.
That's not bottoming out.
Well, I'm guessing he hit rock bottom and then had a flip. So that's good. We actually want someone. I think you want someone to hit their rock bottom.
Yeah.
But then just hopefully there's not a lower rock bottom than that, an original rock bottom. And that
challenge accepted.
Exactly. I was seeing the changes, and I had wanted that I had wanted for him in our relationship. He moved to be with me and get a second, third, fourth chance. I gave him so many chances, I lost count. He moved back in and things were good for a while. It was difficult and still very triggering to be living together again. We were both still working on things and I was very distant. I simply didn't trust him anymore. Yeah. We were working on that together. He was very consistent and stable. We definitely had our ups and downs, but we were a team again. I felt like I was finally getting the relationship I knew it could be. About a year after he moved back in with me, I really felt like I was trusting him again, but then the other shoe dropped.
It always does.
I found something on his phone. Now, before you start, I want to say that this situation involved a near dead phone that had been left out in the rain overnight.
I mean, we're not going to get on you for snooping. But
we're just going to say what we always say, which is like, if you feel like you need to snoop, why are you in the relationship? It's like, that's telling you something. I had no reason or suspicion to snoop. I was just checking that the phone was still working. Okay. I found dating apps on his phone. This in and of itself wasn't that concerning. We had an on again, off again relationship, which throughout everything genuinely felt positive. Dumb bitch. But the messages I found went back years, long before I had given the okay for him to start talking with other people. He had essentially been cheating on me from day one.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, I'm not surprised. And again, I'm not saying this is all because of bipolar disorder, but it's going to be worse because of that, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's just like he's
really letting himself run with it.
Yeah. And it just seems like you kind of like mentioned he has bipolar disorder, but like it's such a huge thing. Like I want to know, like he's on medication, he's in therapy, like what kind of therapist, what kind of medication, how long has he had this diagnosis? Is it 1 or 2? I have so many questions. He said it was about his ego, and he said ego is the whole disorder.
Yeah.
He said it was about his ego. I mean, Kanye West, great example of someone who has bipolar disorder.
Yeah.
And unmanaged.
Yo, his Instagram makes me so sad.
And, you know, it's like this, you know, I think there's so many people, like basically like one of the dead giveaways that someone has bipolar disorder is that they truly think they're like the king of the universe. Like they're unstoppable. They're the greatest that ever was, you know? But maybe has nothing to back it up, which is what was confusing about Kanye because he's actually very talented.
Yeah, he's great.
You know? And he said he never met any of them in real life. I guess I believed him, but my world still came crashing down. The thing that I felt was the strongest part of our relationship was his loyalty to me. His borderline obsession with me. I realized as I typed this that it maybe isn't a great quality in a healthy relationship.
Ding, ding, ding.
Someone can really love you a lot without being obsessed with you. I understand because it does feel good when someone really likes you a lot, but like obsession is different than someone like really loving and caring about you. But honestly, it felt really good. All of that changed when I saw those messages. It wasn't the fact that he did it. It was the fact that he had lied to me for years again. I don't like the start of this next paragraph, miss.
Well, he's not your ex-boyfriend as of you writing this email because you said soon to be in the subject line. So.
Oh, man. I decided to give him another chance. I felt like I was scraping. I get it because in mania, there is really nothing more intoxicating than a person with bipolar disorder. I get it. They feel otherworldly. They feel like you've never met anyone that exciting because you haven't, because something is wrong with their brain chemistry. Okay? Which again, I think it really helped me because you know, when you break it down, you're like, oh, they don't feel about this way about me. It helps on both ways. So like when he was really mean to you or when he's really nice to you, neither of those things are real.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
It's in this world that is the bipolar disorder. So then the obsession with you doesn't feel earned. And that, at least for me, is an easy release. Because it's like, he's not obsessed with me. He's obsessed with being obsessed with whatever it is because he has bipolar disorder. You know? God, read this book, please. I decided to give him another chance. I felt like I was scraping my way back once again. I told him that I was so angry that his fuck-ups became my problems that I had to get through. He had been ruining my life with impunity for years. I always gave myself excuses. I told myself that relationships take work. I told myself that no one is perfect. I told myself that I had already put so much time and energy into this relationship.
That one.
I told myself that I loved him and he loved me. That's not enough. That's one of the most crushing realizations you will have as you get older for romantic relationships, that loving each other is not enough for a functional relationship. That was saving like 10 years. And somehow we ended up moving through that. I moved through it. I was the one who had to do the bulk of the emotional labor to find trust again. Seems like he's not really doing much of anything. That brings us to last night. Winter is a difficult time for me and my partner. Yes, bipolar disorder, very in sync with the seasons.
Yeah.
Okay, so that this is like the mania and stuff happens at different times, and it's very affected by the seasons. We have an unfortunate cocktail of seasonal affective disorder that we manage with medication, vitamin D, and light therapy lamps. Despite that, it's around this time of the year that I'm not my best self, and I was feeling off yesterday. To make a long story a little shorter, I told him that I felt a little triggered by something he was doing. Not super uncommon, but we can usually work our way through those moments. He called me paranoid and crazy. Explosive language, very by the book, yeah. It was extremely upsetting. I knew something more was off than just my seasonal affective disorder. I confronted him about it, but he rationalized things by saying he was high.
Oh, okay.
Why is he still using
Get off
drugs?
the drugs if you're bipolar.
You cannot. God, please, you just cannot. This is like killing me. This is triggering me because it's making me go through something that I was able, that I had put to bed a while ago. And just not speaking as effectively as he should be. I didn't like it and it felt wrong, but I accepted it. Around midnight, I started hearing loud noises. When I got out of bed to investigate, I found him lying on the floor, barely able to stand up. I specifically asked him what he had taken. He said it was the weed, and I knew that was a lie.
Yeah, that ain't weed.
I walked over to his backpack on the floor and found an empty fifth of vodka.
Oh.
I'm not proud of this, but I shoved the empty bottle into the middle of his chest and called him a gaslighting, lying piece of shit.
I mean,
I love when women say things because you're like, I'm still waiting for the bad thing.
Yeah, I know.
Because what did you do?
I apologize, Lord, but I shoved him back. Okay.
Yeah. What, you put a little plastic bottle, you put it on his chest? You can't.
What a bitch.
Yeah.
What a bitch.
I told him we were done and went back into my room. I made him sleep on the couch. We're now up to the present moment. I'm angry and sad and writing lists, Guy Winch style, to remind myself, you need one thing on that list, girl. Unmanaged bipolar disorder. Your life will never feel even the slightest bit in control until this person takes control over their own mental health.
And don't count on that. They're not. This isn't the guy for you.
And even
this isn't the guy for you.
Yeah,
you deserve a peaceful existence.
And like, and once they get it into control, it has to be. It's something that requires constant maintenance. You know, I think if you know someone who has bipolar disorder and you don't even notice, that person deserves like 1,000 pats on the back because the amount of work that they must be doing on themselves to keep it managed like that, the maintenance, the self-awareness, like it is like an incredible thing. Because it is possible. Again, I've seen it happen. Yeah. Only in women. But
men can do it too.
Men can do it.
Please write us.
It is possible.
If you're a bipolar man who's got it under control, we'd love to hear from you.
Right?
To be reminded that you exist, because we know you do. We just need to hear these stories.
Yeah, it's so possible. To remind myself of how many times I've given this man chances and how he doesn't deserve them. It feels impossible right now, but I know that I'm capable of getting through this.
Goddamn right you are.
I told him he needs to be out in a month. I still don't think he believes me. That's a very long
time. A month?
Time. Yeah.
Tomorrow.
And that's also a lot of time for him to create manipulative plans to win you back.
Yeah.
The other shoe is just going to continue to drop for the rest of my life if I don't stop the cycle. Yeah, there's
that's exactly right.
You're barefoot.
There's no shoe.
There's no more shoes to drop. You drop them all.
They haven't been shoes for like 3 years.
It's like one of those. It's one of those electricity power lines that has just pair of shoe after pair of shoe after pair of shoe hung on them because that's how many shoes you're allowed to drop.
So many shoes. You don't have any shoes, girl.
Oh man. I'm actually glad we haven't really talked about this, and I feel like this is possibly something more common. I'm not sure if there's a question in here or just a good lesson for someone else.
Yes.
After I moved to get away from him, I was horrified that I stayed in a relationship as terrible as that. I thought that things like that didn't happen to people like me. Well, there's also the variable of bipolar disorder in here. Because we're so well versed in like fuckboy culture that in the beginning it does seem like this, like the person is just being an asshole or a fuckboy, and then you're like, no, this is something actually much larger than that, which kind of is a relief because you're like, oh, I just thought this was like a terrible person, you know? I know the statistics and I still judged myself. I told myself that I was smarter than that, more educated than that, and on and on.
It happens.
I'm scared to tell my friends about what has happened. But we're scared to tell them what? That you, like, I don't even think you understand right now, writing this, the gravity of what you were dealing with, which is why I wanted you to read that book, you know? Yeah. I don't think it seems to me like this is...
He had you in his web. He had you in his grips, but these grips are... industrial.
Yeah, this is not just like, and you know... Again, you were in a relationship with two people. Once I tell them, I know that it will be final, and I won't stay with him. There's a little voice in the back of my head that tells me that it will be easier to stay. The evil you know is better than the evil that you don't know, and all that. No, I know I deserve better. I know that. I guess what I need right now is accountability, a pep talk, a hug. You tell me what advice you think I should hear right now. Wish me luck.
Girl, you got this.
You just literally spend the night Googling bipolar disorder, reading about it, order that book immediately and start reading it. And I think you will find a lot of healing in that. Because again, like even writing this email now, like the way you peppered in the mental health issues. And then on top of that, you also having a severe OCD. So then you guys are clashing. You're kind of doing the work. He's not doing the work. This is too much going on. Again, like when someone has a severe mental health issue, if they're not putting the work in, they are undateable.
Yeah.
And that is very, very different than being unlovable. They are not unlovable. They are undateable. It's
good distinction.
It's not his fault that he has bipolar disorder. It is his fault that he's not taking care of it. And I know that's really hard. And I, even myself, like I was offering way too much empathy at certain points, because you're like, well, is this his brain chemistry? Is this, but at a certain point, these are still people. These are human beings that know what they're doing. It's not like they're regular people going through regular emotions, just the emotions are more heightened.
They're intense.
But it's not like they have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
I had to have my therapist really articulate that a lot of times. Cause I was, because I spent a lot of hours crying over this diagnosis. Because when you love someone and they're diagnosed with something so severe, there's like a grieving period for that as well. But if they're unwilling to take the steps to towards their own recovery, you certainly cannot do that work for them.
Mad true.
You can't.
I hope hearing us read your email back was helpful. I have a hunch that it was. Thank you for writing us, because I guarantee you somebody is listening to this who is going through the same thing, who thinks it's their fault, who is ashamed that they're not stepping up to the plate more. And now maybe they're able to realize that this is out of their hands and it's not something they want to spend more time with. Okay, one last email. And this one is a little lighter. It's wedding stories. And you could tell a guy wrote this because it's just straight to the point. Number 1, my ex and I went to the county courthouse to get married. It's true that my ex is a much better looking person than I am. That's important for later. And at the time we were married, we both didn't have a whole lot of money between us. So both of us were dressed in our Target business casual clothes. After we had said our vows and did the customary kiss, the judge looked at me, then looked at her and said very pointedly to me, "Well, are you going to at least take her out to lunch or something?" Number 2, after that, we went to leave and my ex needed to make a pee stop. When she came out of the bathroom, she had a look of unease on her face. I asked her what was wrong and she replied, "I feel like I just made the biggest mistake of my life." Did I mention she was my ex? So, Number 3, at my best friend's wedding, which was held in his ex's hometown of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Think white, think Republican, think Christian. We all headed to the reception and sat at our tables. The first person to speak was the priest who presided over the wedding, who wasn't the priest they wanted. He unfortunately died of a heart attack the night before.
Oh, that seems like a bad sign.
That's a bad omen. Well, it's an ex now. This guy stood up and gave a long firebrand speech about how our avarice, our impatience, and our sinful souls just couldn't wait to eat, and how ashamed he felt at our corrupted souls because he could feel how we were wanting him to stop speaking so we could just eat and dance.
What?
Hope this wasn't too long. I have a huge crush on both of you lovely ladies. I love the podcast.
I want to know what his contact info is, because that's what I want at my wedding.
That's the kind of wedding Eric
sinful
wants.
Cowards. You just want to eat and be married on your wedding? How dare you?
Maniac move.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's hilarious. And keep sending us your wedding cringe stories. Seriously, I love them. Or like, oh my God, do you have like a baby shower cringe story? That's hilarious.
Ooh, a baby
or
shower
a christening cringe story. Any like life event cringe story.
That someone somehow ruined.
Yeah, either happened to you or someone you know. They're just so fun. And you realize, wow, life's so colorful, huh? Isn't it, Corinne?
That's one way to look at it.
It's something.
And speaking of which,
Hey.
well, we've been teasing what we're about to announce for quite some time.
Yep.
I know Krystyna is just overflowing with joy.
I'm like that Kristen Wiig character, the surprise party. I'm like, we're gonna say surprise.
You really
very
are
excited.
Sometimes I'll like be scanning your Instagram stories, and then it'll be like, me and Corinne, we're really excited to tell you something. Like I'm not even tagged, and then you're like, I can't wait to tell.
I can't tell you yet. Yeah, I'm very excited. This just feels very right.
Yeah, so I think those of you who listen to Without a Country will be less surprised or follow my Instagram's stories very closely. But the big news is that I am, in fact, running for a public office, as I have teased a bit before. And the public office I am running for is mayor of New York City. This is not a joke. This is not a stunt.
It's not a cutesy campaign.
This is not something I am doing to try and prove a point. It's something I am doing because I'm passionate about this role and I want to win this election to change New York City for the better. Anyone who listens to the show or knows me in real life knows that I have had a over 2-decade love affair with New York City. I'm obsessed. You cannot say anything bad about New York City to me. I will fight you. But on a governing
peacefully,
level, I
with
do
words.
acknowledge that there are many things wrong with New York City that we need to fix so that everyone can have an enjoyable experience living here. And Krystyna Hutchinson, is managing.
I'm managing the campaign. Yeah, it's what a fun time this has been. It's truly. I remember when you said if Trump wins, you wanted to run for office, and he won. And then in the back of my head, I'm like, please keep that promise, because that would really.
I love that you saw that Instagram story because that's just me. A lot of times I just get in my bed, and half the time I'm topless. I mean, not on screen, but in my world, I am. And I just am
just saying shit,
saying things that are crossing my mind. And I said it in passing, but I really did mean it.
Yeah.
And I mean,
it's local politics is such an exciting field, as we have come to find out through. Like we've been in this together and talking to each other every day, Corinne and I, for the past couple of weeks, and like hiring teams.
More than the decision was made on December 6th, right. And then obviously really poor timing just because the holidays, throw a wrench in that, and everything. Every public office is shut down for several weeks, really. But we've been working on this so that by the time we announce it, which is now today, happening, it is polished and legitimate, and I'm organized with the city. We have staff members. We took
campaign finance board classes.
All our training is complete.
Yeah, it's really exciting. And local politics is where you can make such an immediate change in the lives of people and your constituents. And in my head, I'm like, this is a local election. You're running for mayor, and it's in a city. Happens to be the biggest city in the world with the biggest municipality budget in the country, but not city in the world, but like it's a big deal. New York is a very big city, but it's a tone-setting city for the country. And I think that a lot of us are paying attention to the news and watching the person who won carry on with the promises that he made. He's doing what he said he was going to do.
Right.
When we have been saying for 10 years on the show, men will tell you who they are, believe them. That is what's happening with the president of America right now. And I think that one of the amazing things that I love about New York City is that no matter what the country is doing, New York is always in this forward-moving direction where we care about the people, and we care about people in all backgrounds. We want to help people that need it.
We don't need DEI here because we're always doing DEI here, right? It doesn't need to be mandated because that's something that has always made New York City such a special place.
Yes. And so I'm so excited. And when you told me mayor, Corinne, I was like, shut the fuck up. No way. And it's like, it sounded batshit crazy at first. And then almost immediately I was like, yeah, that's right. It feels right. It's right. It's insane, but it's absolutely right.
Yeah. I mean, there's a method to my madness. So it's not like I just, sat down and decided that I should be mayor of New York City. I really thought, I know some of you probably who don't live in New York City might be disappointed because I know you're like itching to see me at a national level. But I think that you have to govern a place that really well
and love,
and that you love a lot. And I knew that it had to be something New York specific when the thought of having to move down to DC. And I love DC as a city, but having to leave New York like really crushed me, you know? And there are so many things that have moved around in my life lately. And the one consistent thing has been how much I've loved the whole time living in New York City, you know? And so I didn't want to give that up. And I said, well, there's a very easy solution to that. And that is running for government in New York City. Additionally, as far as national roles, the people in my district, I looked at them and I said, these people are not doing a bad job at what they're doing. So it doesn't make sense for me to challenge someone who is doing a good job in their role, right? It makes sense for me to challenge someone who's doing a bad job. And our mayor, Eric Adams, is doing a really bad job right now. People are unhappy.
He's running for re-election and he's being indicted.
Yeah.
And
which is historically has never happened, which is almost impressive because you're like, New York City, you think that would have happened already.
Right.
Yeah, he's just allocating funds and mismanaging funds and giving, all his friends from the NYPD raises, and he's forgotten about childcare, and he's forgotten about parks, and he's the homelessness epidemic in New York City has become worse and worse over the past several years, so that you visibly, in my neighborhood, I visibly notice a difference,
Yeah.
We talk about this concept on Without a Country a lot, where if you live in a city that is where many people are experiencing homelessness, you get to know the unhoused people in your neighborhood, right? And so I know the unhoused people in my neighborhood. I say hi to them, we chat, that. And then all of a sudden, more and more people, and these, it's not just people who are experiencing homelessness, they're also experiencing a severe mental health crisis. It's visible. These people, I think, were hidden, in the earlier part of Eric Adams's term, which is very much a page from the Rudy Giuliani playbook. Everyone, if you were living in New York City when Rudy Giuliani was at the helm, everyone was like, oh, wow, just, he must have solved homelessness. No, he didn't solve homelessness. He hid the homeless people for you because helping people long-term who are experiencing homelessness does not happen overnight. It's a long-term project, right? Yeah. And so I just felt like this is someone who I have no problem challenging because I don't think they're doing a good job in the job that we elected them to.
Yeah. And then there's other people that are potentially going to be entering the race. There's talks about, can we say?
Yeah, sure.
Cuomo.
Andrew Cuomo.
Andrew Cuomo was the governor of the state of New York during COVID. And now he's going, so governor is a larger position than mayor of a city, right? So I think what's happening is he saw an opportunity. He goes, oh, Eric's running again and he's getting indicted and everybody hates him. I'll take this race and clean it right the fuck up. Well, Andrew, you never met Corinne Fisher before. Also, you have 11 sexual assault allegations against you. And wouldn't it be fun to have somebody in office who hasn't raped? That just sounds really nice. And like a breath of the fresh air. It shouldn't be, but it is. So yeah, there's so much to this process that I'm learning about that is very exciting. I totally get the people that work in politics, like I've gotten to meet a couple. We've obviously had meetings with so many people, and they're all very passionate people, and it's cool to watch their passion unfold and to learn over the course of working with them why they're so excited, because you're like, oh, you can get shit done on the local level that you can't, that's much harder on the federal level, and really make a difference and really help people.
And I think what's interesting is that what was I going to say? I think that's what's interesting that we've found so far, kind of delving into this entirely new industry of politics that I wasn't expecting, is how excited people are for a candidate like me who just doesn't feel like the norm and is, has perhaps no experience or background in traditional politics, but is someone who they think the public would respond positively to, right?
Yeah.
Because I thought, and I was completely prepared for most people in politics to greet me with okay, good luck.
Okay, little girl.
And that actually has not been the experience at all. People have been really responsive and receptive to my ideas. And they really there's, you know,
they're excited
they
for
like,
you.
They're like, this is actually possible.
Yeah.
And obviously I wouldn't have put myself into a situation or wasted my time or money. And there's a lot of that. I mean, you know, on something I didn't think was possible, but it's always nice when other people who are passionate and intelligent also think that it's possible. So that's been really a cool response.
Yeah, everybody on our campaign staff so far, we still have a lot of hiring to go.
A lot of hiring.
Has been in politics for decades, and they're taking a pay cut to work with us because they're so excited about this campaign, which is really cool because they have every right to be excited. This is new and refreshing. And so if you're listening to this the day it comes out, you're a Luminary subscriber. You've heard us read these emails. I've been listening to you for 10 years. Like, you guys know us. Could you imagine Corinne Elizabeth Fisher on that debate stage with Mayor Adams and Andrew Cuomo? She sweep them up. Sweep them up, because we got the gift of gab, and you don't let people get away with shit. And you're gonna crush it. I really believe in you, and it's so exciing. Like
she does. I never met Krystyna. I told Krystyna, I said you're second only to me in believing in myself.
No, but like I
God
just,
bless.
The more politics has always been something that I wish I was going to say I wish I didn't have to care about, but it's like, it's your everyday life. It's, can I get an abortion in the state I live in? Do I have autonomy over my fucking body? Is my immigrant father going to get deported while I'm at school and I'm going to come home to no parents? Like,
yeah, that's the thing. I think that's an excellent point. I think that people think of politics as this other part of life that can be compartmentalized. And I go, no, it's literally everything that you do, every right you have. I think people in their daily lives don't know how many things are city or government run that they need. And I've been talking about for years on the show, like, going to other countries is such a fascinating experience to me because I sense this ease that I do not sense in America. And for years of experiencing this feeling, I'm like, it's because they don't have to worry about, if they get hit by a bus crossing the street, then their entire life savings and everything they've worked so hard for is in the toilet. I asked my friend the other day, who I forget what country she lived in, but I forget who I was talking to, but I go, how much is it to have a baby over there? And they go, how much? It's free. I'm like, wait, so even if you have insurance, it's free? And they're like, yeah, we don't pay anything to go to a hospital and give birth and get the care we need. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, our Americans, a government's job is to take care of the people. And the take care vibe, I have not felt in so long. And you would think the mayor of New York City would have that vibe because it's New York City. New York City is the world's city, okay? And we are, the strength and diversity is shown so well in New York City. I fucking love it so much. And I have not experienced a taking care of vibe from the mayor rather, ever since living here. And so it's also very exciting because also, frankly, I'm a registered Democrat. I've never voted in a mayor primary election because I don't know when they are. But thankfully we do. It's June 24th. Okay. It's June. Don't worry. We'll give you some other dates. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a travesty when Krystyna's talking about the price of, having a baby. I think it's a travesty that we live in a world right now that has become, the go-to has become creating a GoFundMe when someone falls ill or experiences a death or, exactly, a tragedy with housing. That is not, I think we're used to it now. We're like, just set up a GoFundMe.
Too used to it.
We should not be used to it. That should make, it makes me angry every time. It doesn't make me angry that I have to, swipe my credit card. It makes me, it's not the money, it's the principle.
It's that I'm paying tax money and the people that need the help aren't getting it.
Yeah. One point that I wanted to make really clear with running for, mayor or any government in general is that we have been trained in America to think that bad things happening is unprecedented. That, when something bad happens, that's outside of the norm. No, please. When something bad happens, that's a part of life. Bad things will always happen. Bad things will always happen. Bad things have been happening since the beginning of time, and they will happen till the end of time. It is just as how your character, a reflection of your character is how you respond to bad things happening in your own life, right? We respond to them, and that's what character is. It's not that bad things won't happen to you. the government works in the same way, or should work in the same way, right? Yeah. We should be prepared as a government at all times to respond to bad things happening. You know, we're always letting bad things happen, going, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. Yeah, maybe we didn't know specifically that brand of bad thing was going to happen. Maybe we weren't prepared for that specific thing, but in general, a government should always be prepared for bad things to happen and have a really good response plan, team, funds to react to that bad thing happening.
Yes,
and the fact that we don't is outrageous, and we should not tolerate this anymore.
And I gotta say, the price. I mean, I know people on both sides, no matter who you voted for president, if you live in America, you are very much of the understanding that prices are going up. We ain't getting paid more. How are we supposed to do this? Like, there's so much stress around these fees, these extra fees, and now you have to pay I mean, this is a tiny thing, but like, why is oat milk 75 cents more? Why? That doesn't make sense. Like, and also the credit card, like if you go to a cafe in New York, a lot of times if you pay with a credit card, that business is giving you the burden of paying that 3.75% credit card fee. And as somebody who's been getting on top of her money for the first time in her life, and I got to add up every freaking cent I spend, I'm like, oh my, this really does add up. This shit adds up. And it also compounds like the stress of existing here. This is the greatest city in the world. We need to go back to like making people feel comfortable existing in New York City and attracting people to New York City that are the top talented minds.
Yeah. The amount of people that you've heard people, leaving because of the cost of living, because they don't feel like they can continue with their life path here. It's a great, people will say it's a great city when you're single, but then when you want to have a family, it's not safe. We don't have enough money to do that. That shouldn't be what's happening in New York City. If New York City is your home when you're 25, if you want it to be, it should also be able to be your home when you're 35, 45, 55.
Yes.
You should be able to stay in New York until you die.
If you want to.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And under Corinne's Mayoral campaign and then eventual win, you're going to be able to. You're going to be able to.
Yeah. And the second part of this, I hate to call it a project because it's a campaign, right?
Yeah.
So we have the campaign, and then another part that I'm interested in focusing on and will be focusing on is just the transparency of what it takes to run for public office.
Yeah.
Again, if you listen to Without a Country, I had offered a while ago my support to anyone, but specifically I was concentrating on young women who are interested in pursuing running for public office. And I, put it out there that I would support you in any way that I could, lending you my platform, making monetary contributions, and no one stepped up to the plate. And I'm not blaming you. It's difficult. It takes it takes a lot. But I realized that I couldn't sit and wait for someone else to do what I actually had the time and space in my life to do, right? I think it's not that I wasn't interested. I was just like, well, I've created this whole other successful career, and now I basically have to fully put a pin in it because I won't be doing anything comedy related. I mean, I will still be doing this podcast because this is my job. But and activism has always been a part of Guys We Fucked, so it makes sense, as does Without a Country. But I won't be doing stand-up during this campaign, so people know that this is not some kind of a cheap publicity stunt.
Like, oh, I could do this.
First of all,
it's tough. It's hard.
First
it's
of
not
all,
easy.
as I move on with the transparency of the campaign, and Krystyna and I show you more behind the scenes, and Eric has been really involved as well, you'll see that someone would have to have a lot of extra time and resources to do this as a publicity stunt because it is not easy, nor is it cheap.
Yeah.
And I just think there's a lot easier ways to get attention.
Yeah. Go sell your feet pics on anywhere.
Right.
Honestly, anywhere.
But I hope that kind of just reiterates how serious I am about this to you, because no matter the fluctuation that I've had with my relationship with the entertainment industry, the one thing that has always remained the same is that I love stand-up comedy. And I've been privately kind of grieving the past couple of shows that I've done, because I love it. And it's the highlight of my day most days. And I will have to give that up until, at least the primary in June, and hopefully for 8 more years.
Yeah.
But
you're going to have the opportunity to stand-up comedians are truth tellers. You're
Right.
going to have the opportunity to tell the truth in an area that is going to affect a mother's ability to, have her kid get quality daycare while she's at work.
Sure.
Like the truth is your specific brand of truth telling will be very helpful to the people of New York.
Well, and you guys are all aware of, as much as I've always loved doing stand-up over the, course of the past going on 15 years now, after my dad died, I did have an existential crisis where I was really, there was just a little voice in me saying, like, I just don't know that this is enough. I don't know that this is the end game for me. And that's not to say that doing stand-up or pursuing stand-up or comedy in general is not an admirable pursuit. I absolutely feel that it is. And I kind of, explored, to borrow from our fuckboy email, I explored that, and I think humor has always been and remains extremely valuable in our society. But I just think that you have to look at where you get the biggest response from people. And for me, when I really see people light up is when I take a leadership role. And so this makes sense. I my whole life I've always felt like people are like, okay, are we doing it? And I'm like, yeah, you start it. I'll do it with you. And they're like, yeah, no, but you should start it. So I after the world kind of telling me that in various ways since I was a little kid, being the only one in the group project who was actually doing any work, I finally said, well, you know what, let's take this to a larger scale level.
Yeah.
And
let's help people with my superpower.
And here we are. And I genuinely do have a really positive vision for New York City. I think that the things that we want to achieve in New York City are possible. I think New Yorkers are some of the coolest, most resilient, most authentic people in the entire world.
Yep.
And I know that we can provide more for the citizens of New York City.
Yes.
But we will need your help.
Oh, girl.
We're going to need a lot of your help.
Girl, boy, they, them. We will need your help. We're learning about so much. So how this is working is Corinne and I took our campaign finance board classes, and we're like we said, we're staffing. We need donations. And I do understand why, like, God, when I donated to the Hillary campaign way back when, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, will you get off my stop texting me for money? But now I actually totally understand why campaigns, because you cannot hire people, you cannot get the word out without money. We are very fortunate to have this platform, but we need to reach people who have never heard of us, and that takes some do-re-mi. So
so you guys know, transparently, I have already donated the maximum I am legally allowed to donate to my own campaign, which is not, I mean, I'll just tell you what the number is. It's $6,300.
Yeah.
That's all. I would have donated a lot more, right? Because it feels weird to have to ask other people for money. But unless you are like purely independently wealthy, and I'm talking about worth hundreds of $millions, which I believe Michael Bloomberg did.
Yeah.
Then if you just want to do that and not participate in the New York City matching funds program, that's the only way you can self-fund.
Yeah.
But the amount of money Michael Bloomberg has and the amount of money I have are not at all.
There's a little bit of a gap.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a gap.
And there was an article in New York media a couple of years ago that said, do you need to be a millionaire to become the mayor of New York? And I really found that troublesome, right?
Yeah.
Because what we're sold in America, it's a democracy. We are sold this idea that anyone who is competent and has a vision and lives here should be able to pursue a public office. But we are in a capitalist nation.
Yep.
And very oftentimes it is simply the candidate who raises the most money. And Eric Adams is at, $4 million.
Mm-hmm.
The comptroller, well, he stepped down from the role to pursue the mayor.
Cool.
The role of mayor, which we'll talk about that another
Hopefully someone's doing his duties
another time.
Yeah.
He's at $5 million. These people have a lot of money to play with, but they're also career politicians, and you do have to ask yourself, well, what favors did they have to make to people to get that much money in their bank accounts.
And the other thing too is the press starts taking you seriously the more donors you get and the more money you have, because they're like, oh wow, like people really believe this candidate, they're really backing them, so let's start taking them seriously.
And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about grassroots campaign, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not just, oh, I donated $10. You donated $10 and you also count for one individual person who then those numbers are shown and shared with the public.
Yes.
They don't only share how much you have earned as a campaign, they also share how many individual donors donated to that campaign. And those both those things make a huge difference.
Yeah, and we did opt to participate in the matching funds program, which is very exciting. We do need to hit a certain amount of dollars from New York City residents. That's the most important part. You have to be a resident of New York City, not to donate, but to donate for the matching funds. And if you are a New York City resident and you wanted to donate $250 to Corinne's campaign, and if we meet that threshold to get the matching funds, that $250 donation turns into $2,000, which is absolutely incredible. But
one of the main things I love about New York City, as I started exploring running for mayor, I wanted to see what problems I would come up against, how many times the system would try to stop me. And I have to say, and this is positive news, as of today, as of now, I have gotten more help from the city than I would have expected. They really are interested in letting people run, even if they're not bazillionaires.
Thank you.
And that's cool.
Thanks, girl.
Right?
Thanks, New York.
This is one of the most generous matching programs that exists in government in the United States.
Yes.
And the whole point is to allow people who have less money to run and to make a difference in their communities, which is a really cool thing and why we wanted to participate in it. Also, again, you just kind of, unless you're independently wildly wealthy, it makes no sense not to participate in this program.
Yeah. And also, too, so for donations, we can only accept donations from American citizens. Unfortunately, I wish that wasn't the case, but I understand why that law is in place. So like a country can't buy you. Like, you can
be an American living abroad. That's fine.
Yes.
But
you have to be, an American.
No foreign nationals.
Yeah, unfortunately. And the donations can range from $10 to $2,100. That is the maximum amount of money we can take from an individual. We cannot accept donations from businesses, LLCs, corporations, entities, companies, just an individual person. And if you are a New York City resident, your donation, when you donate, there's we'll tell you where to go in a second, but there's a form you have to fill out where you put your name and address and all of your information, and it logs, like if you're a New York City resident and we meet that threshold, your donations get multiplied by 8, baby, and that's going to be very exciting. So we need donations. We also need volunteers. We need as much help as we can get. And a couple people, I posted a video earlier about how I'm so excited to listen to Luminary on Friday. Guys we fuck, because we finally fucking talk about this shit.
Krystyna's Christmas morning.
I know. I'm like Chris Farley, like in the Beatles sketch. But what was I saying? Fuck.
This is where your volunteers.
Oh yeah, we need volunteers very badly because I posted that video and this girl responded and she's like, oh my God, I'm so excited for whatever it is. I have political experience. And I'm like, you know what? Out of all the podcasts and all the stand-up comedians in the whole wide world, I will say, Corinne, you and I have been very fortunate to have the most incredible ride or die fans. I've never heard a comedian or a podcaster have fans of this nature, and it's really exciting. And not only are you guys doing dope shit and you want more for yourself and you're hot, frankly, that's really cool. And it's not necessary, but like it's cool plus.
It's helpful.
Especially if we need a street team. But you do interesting things for your jobs and careers. And like I have been so thrilled to like there was one girl that listened to us who's a pilot for the Blue Angels in the Navy. One girl who does like who works for an oil company, but she's like an engineer that makes sure that there's not like dolphin pods around. Like the most diverse, badass people listen to this show. And so we need your help. Not only do we need a donation, but if you are a New York City resident, we are looking for volunteers. So to
also
donate,
if you're not, because you can phone bank from wherever.
That's true. And also too, if you just want to call people that you know that live in New York or that don't, that are an American citizen that want to donate, call him. Tell him to go to CorinneFisher.com. But if you go to CorinneFisher.com, that is where you will find a form to sign up to volunteer. And you will also find...
And you get to hang out with me and Krystyna.
A lot.
More than some would like.
Yeah, maybe. You might get sick of us. You might be like, Jesus Christ, I get it. You inspired me to dump my boyfriend, but like, shut the fuck up. No, it's going to be really fun because I think whatever we do, we have fun doing it. And I really am enjoying diving face first into something I don't know jack about and just kind of learning. Because like you said earlier, I think there's so much value to an actual citizen and person running a city versus a career politician, somebody that like needs to hit these certain markers and needs to like put on a show for people and make promises so that guy gives me $1 million. You ain't getting that from Corinne.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of freedom in having a stable career in a completely different industry because I don't have to I don't have to ask favors or make good on favors for anybody. Like this is not I have stable footing outside of politics, which I think is exactly what you need to be a fearless leader who does what she promises. Mm-hmm. You know,
wouldn't that be nice?
That's all I have to do. I don't have to prove myself to anybody. I think it's actually a real positive that I don't have a background in politics because I'm coming into this, clean slate.
Yeah, truly. And also just so you guys know our like goals, our immediate goals here with the campaign. So we want to raise as much money as we possibly can starting now with as many donors as we can get, especially New York City residents. But just a donor's a donor and we really appreciate you.
Yeah, and you're making a huge impact. I know a lot of people kind of feel helpless right now, especially with the new administration on a national level.
I wonder why.
But it is not the time to feel helpless. I don't feel helpless. I feel actually the opposite of helpless. In a way, I want to thank Donald Trump because if it weren't for him, I wouldn't be doing this right now.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
And I think it's a testimony to me that I said if Donald Trump won the election that I would be running for public office. And I remembered that. And I said, well, I guess I got to make good on this now. And I'm actually doing it. So hopefully that's the first step in building a relationship that is based in trust between us.
Yeah.
And I always, you guys know I love the truth. Without a Country, the whole thing is based on the pursuit of truth. I really love the truth.
Yeah, you really do. And so what we have to do to get Corinne on that debate stage with Mayor Adams and potentially Cuomo and all of the other candidates.
And on the primary ballot, which is what we're focusing on now. For those of you not familiar with how government works in New York City, basically think of the primary election for New York City as the general election.
Yeah.
Because
that's our first major goal.
That, historically, whoever wins the Democratic primary goes on to become mayor. That's just the structure of our city. Yeah. So we have until June 24th.
And what we're going to be doing is we were going to raise money starting right the fuck now.
We already started it, yeah.
And then between February 25th and April 3rd, those are the dates that we need, Corinne and I and our entire team, our staff, our volunteers, need to get approximately 2,500 signatures.
2,250.
Okay.
Verified.
Yeah. But we are shooting for 10,000 because we've learned along the way that like you get 5,000 signatures, 4,000 of them probably aren't going to be valid because they wrote down the wrong address. That's not associated with their voter registry and all of this stuff. So we're aiming for 10,000 signatures of New York City residents who are registered Democrats. You have to be registered to the Democratic Party to sign a ballot petition for Corinne.
And to vote in the election.
Of course, yes, exactly. If you're not a registered Democrat, you can't vote in the Democratic primaries.
In New York City, some states that is different.
Yeah.
In New York City, you have to be a registered Democrat to vote in the Democratic primary.
Yes. So from February 25th through April 3rd, I'm going to be on the streets in New York. We're going to be out and about and asking people, are you a registered Democrat? Do you live here? Have you signed for another candidate? Can you sign for? And all we're asking is for a signature. If we get those amount of signatures and they're verified by the campaign finance board, the board of elections rather, Corinne will be on that debate stage.
And on the ballot, yeah.
And on the ballot, yes. And so, and that I think, I'm going to predict that Adams and Cuomo and these top people in the race are not going to take you seriously until they are on the opposite end of a microphone with you.
Christina's so excited for the debate.
She gonna clean up.
She's so.
Oh, you have 11 sexual assault allegations.
So
Do you want to explain
for
that?
this.
Do you want to explain that? I just want someone in office who gives a shit and who, hasn't raped. It's a low bar. It's a low bar.
It is a low bar.
It's such a low bar, but I
don't think the bar needs to be that low. I think it can be quite high.
It needs to be higher. It needs to be higher. We need to give the people the support that they need and that they deserve. And I want people to feel respected and seen and heard by their government. And wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice? So that's a trajectory. And then June 24th is when the primary election is in New York City. And don't worry, every intro for Guys We Fuck, we're going to be continuing the podcast, obviously, as is. Shout out to Luminary for renewing us. We appreciate you. And this is giving us the ability to dedicate so much time to this.
Absolutely.
And then every week during the intro, we're going to be interviewing people still like we do. You're going to get your bonus episodes like you do. You're actually going to get more this year.
We signed to do extra just out of the goodness of our hearts.
Truly.
Very little chance we're going to get paid for those. So
no. But hey, we love you.
We wanted to say thank you to everyone who subscribes to Luminary.
Yeah.
I mean, in part because, you enabled us to be able to pursue this wild goal.
Yeah. And so every week when the podcast episodes come out, during the intro, we are going to do a mayoral segment of some kind, whether it's highlighting a candidate Corinne's running against or highlighting a barrier that we come up against or something that's frustrating us or something that's really cool. So we'll give you little updates along the way.
Because you're on this ride with us. And one of the parts of my platform is a real focus on community and volunteer work. For those of you who have been following the show for a long time, you know that I am a lifelong volunteer. And when I was putting together my platform, I realized that throughout the course of my life, I've had times when I had extra time to donate, and I've had times when I've had extra money to donate. Very rarely have I had both time and money at the same time. And I understand that. But so, being a volunteer, if you have no money to donate, I'm excited about that.
Yes.
If you have no time to donate, or if you don't, live here, again, you can still phone bank from anywhere. But, if you have money to donate, but no time, I'm excited about that. And we're really grateful. But this cannot happen without you. So if you've been, if you want to be a part of something, if you really want to see a change in politics, again, we talk about this all the time on Without a Country. We talk about it on this show about running for local politics. I'm doing that now. I'm doing the thing that we've talked about for so long, right? And I really hope that we have your support. And then in addition to that, I really hope this makes you look at whatever it is you want to pursue, especially if it's something in politics, as something that you are capable of, right? People go, wow, mayor is a huge job to go for. Mayor of New York City specifically is a huge job to go for your first time into politics. And I said, I know, that's not a mistake. I'm doing this on purpose. Yes, I have the luxury, we worked for it, of already having an amazing listenership and people who I think I'll have their ear politically, you guys. And we have money from doing this, albeit, at the end of the day, everyone has the same amount of money because of the caps. But I want to see more people, especially women, make big moves, right? We always feel like we have to wait. We have to pay these dues. And
wait till we're qualified to go after the thing.
we talk about this all the time with any kind of job that exists. Women wait until they're overqualified to try and get a job, while men have no problem going after something that on paper they're underqualified for. But we see those men who are underqualified getting the offices, getting the positions, and succeeding. So I said, I'm just going to go for this because I truly believe in my heart that all you need to be qualified to run for office, again, is a passion and understanding of the place that you live in and a vision for a better tomorrow. I mean, really, that's really got political there.
Yeah, but I know you mean it. It's hard to not sound corny with some of the stuff. But.
And so that's what I'm doing. And we're going to be really transparent. I want to show you, I want to win this office, but also in winning this office, I'm going to show you the steps that we are taking as a campaign, right? As a committee, so that this seems like something a lot more feasible. Things are always scary when you don't know what you're walking into. And obviously, depending on where you live, and what role you might be looking to win, the rules will be different, but I think just pulling the curtain back will be super helpful and make it seem not so scary. So follow along for that. And certainly if you live in New York City and are interested in politics, one of the coolest things you can put on your resume is that you worked on a political campaign, especially one that I think people are going to be really excited about.
Yeah.
So we would love to have your time, your talents, and your energy, because this is not going to, I love pursuing things that I can make happen by myself or with a very small team of people. But this is not one of those things that's possible unless a lot of people get on board. And so that is that's our announcement. That's our announcement.
That's the announcement.
Yeah. And I hope you were excited about it.
I hope so too.
Right?
Talk about it online. I put this, I don't know, I didn't run this by you, but hashtag Corinne Fisher for mayor. Let's get it trending.
I like that you didn't run. You're like, I didn't run it by you, but hashtag Corinne Fisher for mayor. Yeah, the name of the campaign is every campaign has a registered name of the campaign, so that's why you'll see the language being a little different between the candidates. Mine is Corinne Fisher for mayor. Again, a lot of thought put into specifically why it's that, but we can get into the nooks and crannies of it.
We will be, but you go to CorinneFisher.com,
which is the same website that I switched it over. The comedy, it was the same website you've been visiting, hopefully for years, to find my tour dates. But that is completely taken down, and it will be replaced with the political website.
Yes, that's where you go to donate. That's where you go to sign up to volunteer.
And you can also submit. You can also submit if you live in New York City and there's something that you would like changed. There's also a form on there where you can do that, because I'm interested. I want to know. I have my platform, but I also want to know what do you think needs to change? Because
what affects your life?
We're all living in New York City, but everyone's version of New York City is different depending on what borough you live in. If you're raising a family, if you're single, if you're pursuing a job in comedy, politics, everyone's life is different here.
Yep.
So thank you for listening. Thanks for getting this far with us.
Yeah, baby.
We're extremely excited to have the dream team at it again.
Yeah. It's just, life's wild, huh?
Life is wild.
Life's wild. It's fun, though. It's fun. It's what you make it, and we're making it.
I think it's cool that the craziest thing I ever did is run for mayor.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. You're being a great mayor.
Thank you. So thanks for your time, and this is only the beginning.
I'm excited for the merch.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Eric.
And obviously how you're going to change the city.
Oh, yeah. That was the
right.
You know what? And I think that's an accurate representation of
25
of voters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Don't you worry, merch gonna be good.
I like that.
I'm like your typical low IQ voter.
Eric, believe in yourself more.
Right, should I cut that out?
Yeah. No, you keep it in.
You're talking about yourself.
Yeah, that's on you. That's on you.
Right. Yeah, and again, all these things, it's like you can only spend the money that you have in your campaign bank account. So if you're like, why don't you have merch yet?
These are very strict rules.
We didn't have money to design merch yet.
We can't buy anything yet.
Just because we have the money to buy it, that doesn't.
We can't buy it
separate.
for the thing.
Corinne Fisher for mayor is its own entity.
And that's the other thing too. Like, we really have to dot our I's and cross our T's here, because anything could be under scrutiny to get us not on that ballot. Mm-hmm. So we want to make sure we follow everything by the book and are understanding what we have to do, what we can't do.
I submitted heavy documentation to the government. They know every penny I spent in 2024.
Damn.
They know that I got a bag of Sun Chips from a machine in a corridor.
God. You had to write that down
in February. I mean, no.
Yeah. Okay.
Not that part, but
That's
I mean.
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it was one step above quarters I spent at vending machines. They know everything.
Damn.
Happy to give it to them.
Yeah.
Happy to give them that information.
Not a high, baby.
Oh, man. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. I'll try to act regular, but you got to clean up our act.
I know.
A
You
little
can't just
bit.
you can't just be like blowjob face.
Right.
All the time,
You got to clean up your act a little.
You got to be Mayoral.
A little bit.
Which is exciting.
So this
Thanks
has
for
been
listening.
Guys We Fucked, the anti-slut shaming podcast. We will talk to you next Friday.